Hello, everyone, and welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters. As always, my name is Pinkava, and this is the lovely Deplorable Knitter.
Hello, hello. So, before we get into the giant stuff that's been happening in the world, because there's a lot of it happening lately,
Yes.
Anne has her sweater, which I know we are all dying to see. And if you follow her on Instagram, you probably heard a little bit about her snafu. So, you can tell us.
Well, let me pick up my sweater. So I had actually knit through my sweater and gotten all the way to the cuffs, but the sleeves were too small. Like I could get them on, but there's a cable pattern down the sleeve. I had to physically grab and move them so the cable pattern would be straight when you put it on. I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work. And the yarn is also felt pretty easily. So if there's just the barest bit of shrinkage, yeah, this isn't gonna fit anymore. So
yeah, after all that hard work, I mean, you want to be able to wear it without your arms being in
right.
sausage casings or whatever. You want it to be comfortable.
I know. And not only that, okay, and also I spun this yarn, man. There's so much stupid amount of work into this sweater and be like, oh well, I'm not gonna. And that was my entire time as I would try it on. I'm like, yeah, but it's okay though. I don't want to start again. Just start again. Just do that.
Yeah.
Don't think that you won't need to.
When you're thinking that, oh, it's probably okay, that's generally the signal that it's probably not okay and you should just try again.
Yeah, don't be that guy. Don't be me. And not only that, but the collar is messed up too. And I had not only done the collar, but I had done the sewn bind off. And of course, also follow the pattern. Don't make up your own stupid pattern if you know that you're not very good at this. Not that I haven't made up patterns before, but the whole sweater shaping and getting it to fit is not my strong suit. So just listen to the pattern, Anne. Just do it. But anyway, so my problem is that I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it because both of my sleeves are pinned together because it's 2 at a time. Because I can't be bothered to count anything. Okay. So you have the collar on this, and I don't know, well, you can see this, but the top of the decreases start down here. You can see the decrease line here. This is your half of the sweater. So the decreases start here. So I thought that I could put the last buttonhole in right there. But really I should have put the buttonhole. I should have 2 more buttonholes in and put it up here.
Okay.
And I could be gutsy and just like snip a hole in it and have buttonholes and reinforce it and do whatever. But then I have this additional line right here and that won't work. And it's a pain in the butt. But so that has to go too. But pulling out the sleeves when I still had the live ends on it, while painful, it was much better than, like I said, taking out the sewn bind off with yarn that likes to cling to itself and pulling out every individual stitch. So it will have to happen, but I'm going to put the right sleeves on first. So,
one thing at a time.
I know. And during all of this, I have I think I showed all the new sock yarn I had. I'm like, oh, or I could stop everything. I could stop everything and cast on a pair of socks and do whatever. Like, no, just finish the project that you have while you have it in your mind, and then you can move on.
Are you sure? You sure that's how it works?
Well, I have enough things that I'm procrastinating on. So
gosh, I have so many things that I have not done. I really am enjoying homeschooling, like a lot. I think it's a lot of fun, and not every day is good, but a lot of them are fun and good, and so that's great. But because I'm homeschooling and all of my energy is going into that, I haven't done crap on my knitting. I've been terrible. Like this is the stained glass diamonds beanie that goes with the cowl that I've shown before. Oh, look, I still haven't woven in any ends. Just I'm a human, just like all you all. But so here's the beautiful, beautiful pattern, and there's going to be a coordinating beanie that's going to be available in many sizes. Mm-hmm. And that was supposed to be available this month, and I still haven't written the pattern yet. So, but I am finally getting back to it, which is good. And this is my beautiful yarn from Owena Yarn and Fiber. We do love Tina and her yarn. So, dog whistle, tapioca. This one's tapioca, dog whistle. So, there's that going on. And then the other day I was texting Anne because I was asking her a question about sweater knitting because I don't knit sweaters.
And I'm over here like, don't ask me any questions. Not at all. Have you looked at what I've done? I don't take my advice. Whatever you do, just go find someone else. Find someone who's successful. Don't listen to me.
Because I signed up to do a sweater test knit for Knitting McPurley. So I'm going to be testing her Audrey sweater, which is super exciting and fun. But I was going through my stash trying to find yarn because I have yarn. I have a lot of yarn, and I don't use much of it. So I had an idea about some yarn I wanted to use, but I didn't have anything to coordinate with it because it wasn't enough skeins. But then I remembered over a decade ago, I was going to make a February lady sweater, which was very popular that time. And I have 3 skeins of this giant yarn.
Oh,
and it's beautiful.
I think I know that yarn, except the name, it starts with an M, or am I thinking
yes,
something else?
Here it is. I won't say it. I will just show you. Can you see the name?
Yes. Mushishi.
Yes. Mushishi. And I have 3 skeins of this, which will be enough to do the sweater because there's like 500 yards in a skein.
There's a lot of that. I back in the day, I made some Bucky Barnes hats out of some of that. So
you also had some of this because
it's gone now. It's wonderful. Yeah. It's excellent
and it's
stuff.
So soft and it's got silk in it, and so then I remembered that I still have the February lady sweater on the needles from way back when I started it, 10 years ago. But I'll take that out. And
right, you can just sit there and cannibalize it. Like,
because it's going to be an Audrey sweater by Knitting McPurley instead, which I'm really excited to start. So that's that. Mm-hmm. And then I crochet too. I know people, for a while there, I kind of almost thought I was going to release some crochet patterns, but then I realized that I just don't know how to do it well enough. Like, I'm good, I can follow a pattern, I can riff and kind of work on my own thing, but like, one of my Trump patterns, I don't have a great working knowledge of like changing colors and things like that. So to write a pattern like that wouldn't be my thing. So I have this friend. She has a daughter who is 9 now. When the baby was born, I gave her a blanket. I will insert a picture of the blanket now because, oh boy, is it sad. So, because it has been loved, like totally crochet worthy, because it has been used until it has ginormous holes in it. Ooh. So this is going to be her blanket. And it is, I don't know if you can tell, but it's got sparkle in it. Ooh. So it's a lavender with some sparkle. And it's going to have a border. It's going to be white with sparkle in it because, she's a 9-year-old girl. Of course, anything that she has should sparkle. And I had intended for this to be done, but I ran out of yarn. I had to go to the store. And then I realized the girl's 9. Like, I can't make her a baby blanket. So now it's going to be like a throw twin-ish size blanket. So that's what I'm working on. These are all my things right now. And I got my thin blue line knit along hat in the process still too. I haven't made much progress on that. I've been too busy homeschooling, doing things like taking nature walks and, fabulous.
All those good things. And it's not as if you haven't made a couple thin blue line hats before.
Right. But I wanted to get one done during the knit along, participate, show support, that kind of thing. So
Play with the
it
other
ends on the
kids.
4th. Yeah. So it's another week or so that'll be over, right? So that's my knitting stuff. Do you have any other projects or just your sweater that you're angry at?
Like I said, I did well on my sweater until I didn't. So it mostly has been my sweater, yes.
Okay.
Besides, I too agreed to a test knit, which was foolish. So
I'm excited about mine, but I also believe that it was somewhat foolish of me to do because do I really have the time for it? Probably not.
Well, I was bribed, man. I was bribed because it's from United Kingdom on Instagram, and they told me that they were a genuine Brexiteer, and I'm like, oh man, I got to make your hat now, which I'm really easy. It's terrible, but it's a sideways knit hat, which I thought was pretty interesting, and you finish it up with a Kitchener stitch, which I enjoy Kitchener stitch, weirdly enough. So anyway, it looks like a pretty straightforward pattern. Also, part of the pattern, which I'm not sure I'll do yet, is how to dye the yarn yellow with turmeric. And I've never done any yarn dyeing before, so I don't know if I'll just be like, oh, well,
Anne, don't do it. Don't dye the yarn. Because I dye yarn. And let me tell you, you're going to dye yarn, and then you're going to be like, what else do I have that is wool that I can put in this vinegar mix and make colors? Right. That's what happens. And then all of a sudden, you're not knitting. You've got all this yarn that you've dyed. And some of mine is in these teeny tiny mini skeins that I don't have anything I can do with this stuff. But now I have it. I've dyed it. It's pretty. Now I have this yarn that doesn't match anything. It's too small to knit anything. Don't do it.
Well, fine.
No, I totally think you should, but you're going to regret it, just like you're going to...
Right. It'll just be another thing to regret. And also just wandering around my yarn stash of what do I have that's white that I could dye? Like...
Oh, you don't have much white?
I have some white.
Fiber?
I have some white. But also I have some undyed roving. So that would be worse. That would be, yeah.
Well, I dye roving because my mom spins. But roving is harder to dye because I find that I tend to felt it. So, yeah, just go in with your eyes open. Go in slowly. Make sure it's really something you want to get into because when I started it was something that, like, for months, I was dyeing all these little things everywhere. All these little, I've got 6 yards of some white yarn. Okay, I'm going to put some color on it. Like, I was like an addict. I was like, oh, some lint.
I know it's, any lint you can find, you're picking it off a white sweater in order to dye it.
Exactly as bad.
But no, and I've seen a couple of videos lately of how to dye yarn too, which I thought were interesting. Like, Anne, you really got to back away. You have so many things to make, so many. Just if you're like I said before, I've been tempted to deviate and start some sock knitting. I'm like, as far as deviations go, stopping to knitting a pair of socks and then going down the rabbit hole and dyeing yarn. Very separate things, and one takes significantly less equipment, so I should probably keep to what I know.
Yeah, no, I love dyeing yarn, and if I had the time and the overhead and the space and I would totally really get into it, but I try to be realistic. And right now I can't even manage to knit a hat. I've had the pattern for the stained glass diamonds hat written for almost 2 years.
Ow.
You'd think I could get the darn thing out.
Well, they make me feel a little bit better with Hong Kong. I have a chart together and I have basic pattern instructions, but I'm looking at them like, is this good enough? Is this really? So I'll have to. Yeah. I could probably start test knitting, but I should probably clear up some clear it up a little bit, make it a little nice.
Yeah.
So when test knitters tell me it's bad, I can't be like, well, I knew that bit was bad. No, I should fix it.
Yeah. Well, this thing was test knit last year, and then it never got put out, and now I'm changing it. So there you go.
There you go. Oh well.
Oh well. So I think that's all I have on the knitting front today. Hopefully soon there will be a sweater to show, and I don't know what else, but oh, this pattern will be available soon. It doesn't look like much now, but I swear it's gonna be something.
I've done that so many times before where I've just like barely cast on. There's 2 rows. I'm like, look, it's a hat. And then, oh, look, it's a sweater. Be proud of me. It's like, no, it's not. It's just a little ruffle on. No, it's a sweater. And one day when it grows up to be big and tall, then you'll be able to wear it.
Would you like to start with your information about Brexit, or?
Yes, the Brexit update, though I think probably more people are interested in Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I think Brexit's a good place to start, though. Give us the quick overview.
Quick overview of Brexit. All right, so a lot of things have happened in Brexit world because we haven't covered it a lot lately. Okay, so to begin with, so you had the EU treaty with Brexit in order for Brexit to happen, which was kind of passed quickly. Like, you knew that there was a lot of junk in it, but it was, from what I understand, it was Nigel Farage's position that just get any form of Brexit passed, because there was a lot of Brexit fatigue, that just get it and then move it from there. Even though I believe at the time and currently he's pushing for a no deal Brexit, just leave, you don't have to. A lot of things that they're saying, like, oh, like in this deal, you're still entangled in the EU to a certain extent, but you no longer have a vote in how much you're entangled in the EU. So you're still like paying taxes in. And if a war were to break out and the EU took a different side than England did, that would not be allowed in this agreement. So, I mean, you're becoming like a little mini vassal state to the EU, basically. You have the common fisheries policy, which is kind of if I forget the word that was used, but if the common fisheries policy, that is England's and Ireland, and you have so many miles off the coast, that is your fishing waters. And if the EU says, oh, well, but we can fish in your waters and you can fish in ours, and they come in and steal all of England's best fishing, that is a massive industry for England. Like the Shetland Islands, which we knitters love so much because of all the Fair Isle sweaters, that for years, all the industry they had was fishing boats and what they could eke out by knitting. Like, that is, they have wool, and they, all the men go and fish, and all the women sit there with the knitting. Men too, to a certain extent. But that was all the industry they have. And then you're going to totally knock out the fishing industry. So that is then the Northern Ireland Protocol, which will come in a little bit later, because there are certain people who are big on the Remain movement, and they were saying that, oh, well, if it's a no deal Brexit, then then we'll break international law and nobody will trust us again and we'll be terrible people. But point number 2 is excellent, because in the middle of all of this, complaining and moaning back and forth, Japan signed a massive trade deal with England, which is, let's see, it equates to 15.2 billion pounds over a 15-year period. So that's digital and data, that's tax-free goods, that's regional food labels, that's copyright protections. The visas are easier for business and travel, which tourist trade in Japan, that people coming from England is the largest people group of tourists in Japan. So that's good for both sides, I'd say. Trans-Pacific Partnership, 95% tariff-free. Reduced tariffs for car parts. Let's see, there is a tariff reduction for pork, meat, and salmon, and also reduced for cheese and other regional foods. So massive, massive deal. And it also helps to say, you know, all the people saying like, oh, no country will trade with us or be able to trust us anymore. And Japan's like, we will. Hi. We'll take that deal
up?
and we'll take it. Right. Like, nationalism doesn't bother us. But Biden tweeted out about Brexit. Super mistake. Why? Because part of when Brexit happened that made people so angry made the English people so angry was that Obama came over and said, you shouldn't have Brexit, that's dumb. And England said, you don't rule us. So you're not our president. And so both Pelosi and Biden are now saying that England can't leave the EU because it would dishonor the Good Friday Agreement. And it was weird. The Good Friday Agreement was peace between Ireland and Northern Ireland, that Northern Ireland is part of England and regular Ireland isn't. Okay, Joe Biden tweeted out, not to be petty, I don't think he writes his own tweets, but Joe Biden tweeted out from his official Twitter, we can't allow the Good Friday Agreement that brought peace to Northern Ireland to become a casualty of Brexit. Which, to pause, implies that two pretty peaceful nations who have been peaceful since the 60s, that whatever happens with Brexit, they're just going to go back to firebombing and the IRA is going to walk out again. Anyways, to resume Biden's tweet, any trade deal between the US and UK must be contingent upon respect for the agreement and preventing the return of a hard border, period. When Boris Johnson had COVID, okay, when he was in a coma and he was so sick and he came out of it, and this was mentioned by Trump in one of the coronavirus press conferences, that Trump called him up and, hey man, hope you're doing well. And the first things out of Boris Johnson's mouth was, when can we get a trade deal between US and the UK? Okay, so this is so clearly trying to put pressure on England to no longer do Brexit. And like I said before, that in order for England to still be a part of the EU is so many punitive policies, so much, again, you're still paying taxes into them. You're not a part of them. You still have to follow all of their dumb regulations. And it's horrible.
I mean, what's the point of Brexit if you're going to pay taxes and have to follow their rules? Like, might as well just hang out if that's what's going to happen.
Right. And also, if they decide to pass any more, fun rules to create pain for your country, then you just have to happily march along with it. There's no, the same EU that when the trade deal, sort of peace deal between Kosovo and Serbia recently came out. And part of that deal was that both of the countries had to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, that the EU actually put out a statement saying, don't know, guys, if you ever want to become a part of the EU, you can't be doing stuff that we don't like supporting Israel.
Seriously?
So, yeah.
What?
Yeah, these aren't the kids you want to play with.
No, they sound like the mean kids that I would tell mine not to be around.
Yeah, they're a horrible group. And again, Pelosi and Biden are all like, woohoo, and Obama back in the day, and many other liberals are like, oh, EU's the best. Yeah, so that's garbage. And then to finish up my Brexit update, because I've already been rambling on a bit. So there are new UK lockdowns coming up, and Mr. Matt Hancock, the health secretary, saying that you can only have 6 people in a group now, and that's supposed to go all the way through Christmas, which, again, how many of your family members can come by if there's 6 in a group? And who is going to enforce that on the Queen herself? 6 people to a group. You're encouraged to call the police on your neighbors. If you test positive from coronavirus, or if you're waiting for a test, or it kind of looks like if you know a guy who knows a guy, that it's kind of iffy on how far that goes. It's not just you testing positive. But the first time you leave your house, it's £1,000 fine. The second time, it's £10,000. So, and again, please call the cops on your neighbors. And he's also threatened to send in the army certain times, which he hasn't sent in the army, which is any violent riots that have destroyed statues and World War II memorials in England, and other such things. That doesn't matter. Why send in the army for that? That's ridiculous.
No, but when you're leaving your house when they say you shouldn't, then yes, the army should come. Makes perfect sense to me.
Yes.
So would he be considered a liberal?
He is a member of the Conservative Party, actually.
Just power hungry then?
Yeah, well, he looks like a weasel, but 100% only personal commentary there. But no, and Boris Johnson has been gung-ho for this. This second lockdown is going to be a circuit break, and we're going to save so many people. And no, you're going to kill people. Again, we've mentioned this on our show before, the number of suicides, the number of treatable cancer screenings that are not getting reached in time. Just,
right.
And the lockdown for England is much worse than it has been for America, because America has pockets where it's more free, so those businesses haven't died.
Right. These treatments that people should be getting, I should be getting my screenings when I'm supposed to. I'm still waiting to get into one of my doctors for a routine yearly screening, because now everybody's so far behind that the most, I'm not as high risk as some other people. So gotta wait until they get through the backlog. But if we shut down again, then what's going to happen?
Right.
Scary stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, and some conservative, either in England, the Conservative parties, which isn't up to much conservatism in the entire reign of Boris Johnson. But you also have conservatives in America that are pro-lockdown. I don't know if you saw the video or heard a clip of the Ohio governor who was at a Trump rally, and he was trying, and he's one of those forced mask mandate guys, and he was supposed to be, oh, well, it's so fun because after all, with this forced mask mandate, you can wear Trump masks. And he was booed. So the crowd were not having all of it or having any of it. They didn't care. They didn't care about the woohoo Trump, anything. They booed the guy off the stage. It was terrible. But it's like that, hi, you are here and we are going to say exactly what we think about this. And maybe you're not getting this reaction about wherever you live, but we, the people of Ohio, are not pleased. Like, yeah.
I don't know. I just saw the most interesting video that I've been showing to everybody. It's a doctor who is using a vape.
Right.
So apparently the smoke in a vape is larger than a virus particle. It's the same size or larger, he says.
Right.
So he vapes with all of these different kinds of masks on, and then he exhales. You should see what masks do. They do nothing. That's the answer. They do nothing. The smoke is coming out the front. It's coming out the sides. It's a big cloud of smoke all around his head, but it's going to save your life. So,
right. Well,
freaking nonsense.
I know. And
I mean, like if I'm coughing or sneezing, I just think it's hilarious. So yeah, if you're going to be, coughing and sneezing, and sure, masks totally help with that, but like general regular talking, apparently it just all explodes through.
Right. literally catching spit and snot. But
yeah. And how good is it for us to be breathing in all of our own carbon monoxide? Has anybody done a study yet? Do we know?
Not awesome.
No.
No. And there was a picture from Madison, South Dakota, where it was at a school board meeting, and the guy refused to wear a mask, and he was taken away by police. And yeah, that part of the picture, so he was taken away by the police. He wasn't actually charged with anything, but they took him out, and there was a woman with the mask pulled around her chin, and she was taking pictures of him as he was taken out, but she's okay. And what does this chin beard help? Like, it's not. I'm so glad we're protected.
That kills me too. You know, I'm wearing my mask, right? So I go to Aldi for my groceries, right? So at the end of my shopping trip, I'm leaning over my cart. I'm pulling my groceries out. My darn mask, for whatever reason, it's like up over my mouth. It like went up my face. Like, seriously, it would be probably one thing if people were forced to wear or required to wear like things that were actually fitted to them, that had like lining around them and proper filters and things. But I mean, the ones we wear, I made out of t-shirts. Like,
right. And in addition to that, the pictures going around of people who have to wear the large filter masks all the time, and the sores and the acne and the other stuff from that bacteria being really trapped next to your face for a long period of time, that's not nice either. That's yeah.
But seriously, I'm sitting there in Aldi, somebody nearby me has like patchouli on. It's all I can smell. Like, what is this mask doing? That's assaulting me. Come on. I wonder how big a particle of patchouli is. I should look it up.
Masks would be way more popular if they guarded you from patchouli. Anyways, you want to talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Yeah. So last Friday, the legend died. What's that look for, Anne?
Look, okay. She died. Dying is sad. Obviously, it's a hard time for her family and people who know her and love her. But I've commented before about the weird sort of idol status that is around Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like when you can walk into a liberal bookstore and they have like coloring books and pins and stuff. I'm like, and little like children's pop-up books about the wonderful things she did. And I'm like all the abortions, like she and also complete disregard for the Constitution. That she can take this tiny bit from this law and this tiny bit from that law and smudge them all together, and that's supposed to be a ruling. Like she was not a constitutional judge. I'm sorry.
I don't think that they ever claimed that she was necessarily.
That's true. But if you're, she's so famous for having fought for equality and freedom and all of that, well, she could have done that by the law. I do believe that womankind would have survived very well if she hadn't been a judge. Now, of course, to be a Supreme Court judge is a high honor and is something that she took very seriously. And, she was friends with other judges. The story of her and her husband and, how they love and support each other, all wonderful things. But I wasn't a fan of her career as a judge. And it's another thing, there's many people out there like, it's because she was a woman, oh, well, all the great things she did for me. Like, no, she didn't. Sorry. No. Just like how you're a woman and you're supposed to love all the female superhero movies. I'm like, no, they're the worst. They are sincerely painful to watch.
But when I said that she was, I was being slightly facetious.
Slightly facetious. And again, disagreement, obviously. Didn't want her to die. That's bad. But
I well, first off, I find it super disturbing how everybody thinks that she's like this magical, fabulous, whatever. She wasn't the first female justice. Like, everybody seems to forget that Sandra Day O'Connor was on there first, and I guess we just don't care.
Uh,
Is it because
there's
she was more conservative, or I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know the reasoning why she's not that. I mean, she was a Republican, so.
I mean,
So,
I don't see any Sandra Day O'Connor pins, not a single one.
no, and actually I looked to
Not that
see
I'm
if I could.
inclined to wear one myself, but
No, but nobody talks about her. And I won't lie, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I think especially kind of in the beginning of her career, she was doing cool stuff. I mean, you hear about she was one of 9 women out of 500 in her class. That's an accomplishment. That's something to be proud of. You know,
right.
getting more women into the legal field is not a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
but she was not a saint either. And the part that bothers me so much is like all of these people are like, oh, you know, Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned if they fill the seat. And dude, why is everybody so up in arms to be able to kill their babies?
Yeah, there was a couple videos I saw of TikTok girls who were just wailing about how horrible it is going to be because and how oppressive it is to not have abortions. Like that is the linchpin of society.
Apparently that's the thing. But so when I found out that she had passed, and I'm political. I mean, we all know that obviously, but I have not been political for a long time. Like, I think Anne has been more into stuff longer than I have, even though I'm a decade older. But I guess my point is that like I had to actually do a lot of research and figuring stuff out to figure out like, because the first things I started hearing is, you know, this close to the election, we shouldn't appoint a new person. It's not right, blah, blah. In 2016, they didn't do it. Well, after I learned more, in 2016, we had Obama with a Republican Senate.
Right.
And so therefore, that
he
was
did
the difference.
appoint someone. They were not confirmed. That
Right,
there's no
but
reason that
everybody
someone shouldn't be
was going,
appointed. Right.
but I didn't at first hearing the stuff that I was hearing, that was never brought up. It was never brought up that the president and the Congress were different parties.
Yep.
So or Senate or whatever. But so yeah, now that I understand that, that's a totally different thing. Apparently there is just absolutely no reason that Trump could not appoint someone and that he should not appoint someone.
I believe it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg herself who said that a president doesn't stop being president in his last term, and he is perfectly able to appoint who he likes.
She did say that, and I don't know. I'm sure everybody's also heard that she said on her deathbed that she hopes that the new president will be able to install the justice. And I don't know if she truly said that or not, but if that's what she was thinking about at the end of her life and not like her family and her kids and stuff, that's a little sad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I know she's this great liberal icon, but I think that when I'm dying, I hope that I would be like worrying about my children and my grandchildren and my and not I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's but again, it's not as if on her deathbed she was talking about legal precedent either. It was a wish, but a wish it's not law.
Wishes don't really amount to much, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah. So, and again, well, more surprisingly is, okay, so there's the people who are memorializing Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of course. You know, she's a big figure, especially in the Liberal Party. But on the other hand, there are people who are angry at her for not retiring under Obama, which is a bit weird. But okay, you can have that thing. But also the people who are saying that if Trump dares to appoint someone, which is his constitutional both right and duty, I mean, why would you just leave the seat open? That doesn't make any sense. But if he dares to appoint someone, that they will burn things down, which is what they've been doing already. I got a video, or I didn't, not video, pictures that they had burned. There's Antifa and BLM in suburbs of Minneapolis, burning people's houses down, not just downtown businesses. So that's really horrible. But also that there will be more violence, that if you can't get your way legally, that violence is a way to get your way. But
I don't know.
You know where I'm going with this.
This whole plan of, if you do something we don't like, that's what they tweeted out immediately.
Yeah.
If you appoint
it seems
someone,
like they had a plan.
Riot. Yeah. I don't know. Nobody rioted when Obama appointed Merrick Garland. I don't know. I vaguely remember hearing about him. I wasn't that, like I said, back then I wasn't quite as into stuff as I am now.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't know. The number of decisions that Obama made, and then Republicans were out in the street burning stuff down. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Right. But we're the fascists. Don't forget that.
That's right. You have to remember that you're not burning things down is probably the most fascist. And also, don't forget that it's not really BLM and Antifa. I mean, Antifa are just anti-fascists, and BLM just want justice for people of color. It is white supremacists sneaking in, and then they're burning things.
Yeah, I heard
there are people who sincerely believe that, and I'm like, who's on the membership rolls, and here's the mugshots, and here's the signs, and here's everything else.
Yeah, no, people actually truly, heart of hearts, believe that it's like the Republicans doing this stuff, and I just wonder how things got that messed up.
Yeah, and so Trump is really leading the white supremacists, and they are doing all of the burning things down. Trump has a secret radio station, just like how Dick Cheney controlled the weather. And he has this secret radio station that goes out to so many people that you don't hear about it. And I've never seen anyone try to have any line of truth for these secret communications. But
okay.
Yeah, I do know of liberals who will not listen to a Trump speech because it is too much. And I'm like, well, if you disagree with Trump, or if you say you don't like Trump, I would sincerely encourage you to go out and listen to a whole Trump speech without commentary. And if you want, in spirit of fairness, go out and listen to an entire Biden speech without commentary, and then compare.
Okay.
That's the fairest thing you can do. But
I agree with that. But you talking about the mind control and not listening to Trump because heaven forbid you might agree or something.
Right.
Did you hear the latest Peter Strzok,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy who was texting his girlfriend, and they were both married to other people, about how he wouldn't let Trump win. We have an insurance policy.
Well, did you hear the latest?
No.
He is going to write a book, and he is claiming that Trump and Putin I'm sorry. He is claiming that they communicate telepathically, and that's why there's no evidence.
Vlad, just look into my eyes, and you'll just know. Again, I've heard people recently bring up Russian collusion in the upcoming election. Okay, if Vlad gave the Donald the election, then he got the worst deal. Said before, Russian collusion didn't happen, not to mention that there were no Russians in the Russian collusion. But let's put that aside. Let's all of the evidence that we don't need, that the Russian collusion.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't matter, so move on.
Right, yeah, that doesn't matter. It happened. We kept saying Russian collusion, so therefore Russian collusion. But yes.
Sorry, go.
Okay, again, if Russian collusion had happened and Trump was elected because of Russia, which again, ridiculous, but okay, whatever. Russia got the worst deal. Not only did Trump make it so all of the different NATO countries had to pay for their security, there was a specific deal going on where Germany hadn't paid up with NATO because you're supposed to have 1% of your GDP be what you pay into NATO for common defense. But Germany was giving all this money to Russia for an energy pipeline from Russia to Germany. And Trump was like, why is America paying your deficit in security so you can get all of your energy from the guy that we're supposed to be protecting you from? Why are we doing this? Not only that, but peace deals with Israel and strengthening Israel's position against Iran. And Russia has a lot of fingers in Iran. So having Iran as a nuclear power is really in conjunction with Russia. So we're throwing all that. We're getting rid of the Iran nuclear deal, which also messes up Russia's plans for the world. You're just going down the line. You're pointing out Hunter Biden, new information is coming out about all the money he got from Russian oligarchs. Well, that's coming out and we're not doing that anymore. Wow, Russia's not being helped there either. And, this ends, man, Trump's just out there playing 5D chess, man. He is messing up Russia's game so much to make you think that you're not messing up Russia's game. And that is why Russia's going to give him the election.
Yeah, no, the whole Russia thing is stupid. And I can't even believe that anybody with a brain is going to fall for it again. But they will. I mean, because they are programmed to believe all this stuff. But you talking about the collusion and all that made me remember that Nancy Pelosi already said if Trump tries to replace Ruth before the election, that she has arrows in her quiver. Like they're going to try to impeach him again or something for doing what he is constitutionally allowed to do. And even the yellow belly rhino, Romney, said that it was constitutionally his right to do it. Yeah. So there you go. I was surprised when I actually heard that. I was like, what? You agree with him? How? That never happens.
Like, wow, Romney.
Whatever. I'm not gonna question it, but man.
Not gonna argue, but really.
Just the nonsense, dude.
But yeah, there's a lot of nonsense going on. And also with Russian collusion, you have the question of, okay, so how did Russia collude? How did Russia steal this election? And most people will say that through ads and was it Facebook Analytica or whatever, that sort of scandal that went on. That is how Russia colluded. Oh, so Instagram and Facebook right now was saying register to vote and this and that and trying to give you crappy voting information every 5 posts. That's not collusion to influence an election when they the CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, and Instagram and YouTube and Google specifically have said that they can't let something like Trump's election happen again. Oh, that's not collusion at all. What?
Yeah, no, the whole thing is just ridiculous. And so because I'm homeschooling, I spend a lot of time hanging out in homeschool groups on Facebook because I'm figuring stuff out. And one of the things I was but somebody had posted was, how do I teach my kids to think critically? Like to read something and like question it, and people are like, talk to them. Teach them to ask questions. Teach them not to take everything that's fed to them, and make them learn. Make them develop critical thinking skills, because that's a lot of our problem. Nobody has that crap today. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's Russia collusion. All right.
Yeah.
Ever. Sorry.
I know. But I'm always like, where are the Russians? Like, walking into our local polling place where it's a couple of older ladies who are just hanging out there. I'm like, oh, is one of you a Russian spy? Or
probably. I mean,
not again.
It stands to figure, right?
I don't know. But
I don't know.
Just like all the people who suddenly have connections to the Chinese Communist Party have been taking that Chinese money. Ooh, I'm more worried about that. I'm looking for a Webs to send me the confirmation email because I bought some stuff.
I I heard we're not supposed to like them anymore.
Oh, what'd they do?
They started carrying Oink Pigment, who is apparently a butthead, so.
You know,
I know, it's hard to keep up, and I gotta just move along sometimes.
yeah. I mean,
I,
look, all I wanted was the new Rowan magazine. Like, it was so difficult to find because it was sold out so quickly.
oh, I didn't know
So,
that.
yeah. So I'm sorry. And also I'm really excited about, sweaters and fall and my sweater failure has not stopped me from wanting to knit more sweaters. So that is a good thing.
Yeah, I don't really want to knit sweaters. I'm not sure about this whole testing thing. It's the version she has is cropped, and I do not have the shape to wear a cropped sweater, so mine will be longer.
Right.
It's just not flattering on me. Maybe if I could rock it with like one of those. See, the 90s are coming back. If I could get one of those like thigh-length white button-down shirts to wear under it, I would totally rock it. But
There you go.
seeing as I'm not Alicia Silverstone and clueless, I probably won't. And you probably don't even get the reference because you're so young. So that's awesome.
All I know about Clueless is two things. First of all, that it's based on Emma. And secondly, Mom always quotes the bit where she's talking about Hamlet because she likes Mel Gibson movies. Because I know Hamlet because I like David Tennant films. So that would
You've never seen it?
I've never seen Clueless, no.
And
well, I've watched pretty much every version of Emma except Clueless. So
well, you should watch Clueless. It's the best.
well, okay.
And I'm just really, see, it's times like this where I feel so much older than you, because that was one of those, it was out in high school and I loved it and I watched it all the time. I had it on VHS tape. So anyway, not the,
There you go.
the point of the thing was the sweater that I'm going to make, it's got like kind of like a boat neck, maybe not a real one, but it's kind of a little bit wider.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got like elbow length sleeves. I don't even think they're 3/4. I think they're elbow length. And then it's cropped. So I'm hoping that because of those attributes, I will actually be able to finish it, because there's not a whole lot of sleeve for me to do. Yeah, it'll be boring, but once I get the body going in the round, I mean, I should be able to do that while I like supervise my kids doing their stuff. So hopefully it'll work out.
And you have interesting yarn, so that helps a lot.
I do like interesting yarn. It does make it, I like it when it changes color, because then it's something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think most knitters feel that way. I hope.
I would think so.
Oh well, Anne, we're not going to solve any of these problems today, unfortunately.
I don't know.
Although I'd like to. I'd like to figure out what to do about my state and all this other nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So next week, we might have a guest. Stay tuned. See who it could be.
Yay, that'll be exciting.
Stay tuned, Anne, in case it happens.
I will stay tuned.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. And as always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell so you don't miss anything. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.